Hi everybody, welcome to VTS41 for July 2008. I'm your host, Keith. Yay! Alright, good to have everybody. For you folks who are new, welcome aboard. For you folks who've hung around, why are you still here? Alright, no, it's good to have everybody. This month I had started going down a different path with the video, continuing our body mechanics chapter of things, and I'm going to pick that up. But this month I decided to kind of stop that just for a minute and show something kind of interesting, something a little bit different. As many folks may know, at this point in time in my life, I'm doing another animation personal trainer class. I have 10 students, one left over from the last one, 10 students, and for 4 or 5 weeks I am training them animation. They send me their files and I give them assignments and I go right down personalized training. I give them exactly what they're looking for. You know, we together assess their skills and their needs and then I make assignments, they do the assignments, they send it back to me, and I create teaching and feedback videos for them, which are fairly in-depth. Okay, these are not like 10-minute little recordings about saying, okay, we'll change this pose, but they're really kind of interesting. Anyways, I got permission this month from one of my students, Nanda Kumar from India, very talented student, and he had this really neat piece of animation, and I had a fun time giving a teaching and critique on it, and it was just really cool. And I said, hey, Nanda, what do you think about sharing this with all the VTS subscribers? Would you be okay with that? And he said, yeah, sure, sounds great. So this month, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the feedback video I did for Nanda's assignment for Animation Personal Trainer, and I'm going to share it with you guys so you get to see and kind of look over my shoulder as I teach another student what he needs to know about doing animation. And this one's pretty cool. It's got some cartoon stuff, some 2D versus 3D stuff. It's pretty neat. I really enjoyed doing it, and well, Nanda's work makes it very enjoyable to do. So anyways, without too much more blabbing yabbing, let's get into it. I'll skip past the introduction and also skip the assignment part at the very end, so we'll fade in, fade out, okay? And yeah, let's go, let's watch, let's see what happens. Let's hop right into this thing. Very nicely done. I like how you ran with your sketch out there, and you're really having fun with this character, which is really the important thing. So now let's try and find a way to make it better. Okay? First off, I want to say you're doing a really good job of understanding that you don't always have to have feet on the ground, which is very, very good. But as it is, you could do a couple of things that make your stuff a little bit stronger, and the more you can figure out here on the front side, as far as like how the mechanics work of these particular moves, the easier it will be for you to clean it up. And we'll kind of get into some of those things as we go. I like first off, the texture is very, very good. You're very, understated here in the front, which is good. But then you kind of get into a big thing, and it's a nice growing. It's like here, and then it gets here, and then it shoots right off, which is, as far as the energy of the texture, which is really good. I like that. If anything, maybe right here you could push this pose just a little bit, just give that a little bit more something, and maybe take the let me see here, perspective view, maybe take these brows up just a little bit, just a tiny little bit more, and take this guy up just a little bit, and this guy, there we go. And I want to get just the lids here. Okay, where's the lids? Is this the lids? No, somewhere in here I know is one of these is the lids. There we go. Just a tiny little bit of something. Oops. And there we go. Just a little something, because there wasn't much difference between this and what you had before. Okay. I like this. Very, very nicely done. I think this pose right here, you could push it just a little bit more. I think you can get over and really just kind of give this thing just a bit more oomph, and just something just a little bit stronger. And that way, what we're doing here is just giving you just a little bit
There you go. And you can also do the same thing here with the head. Because he's this way, you can push the head a little bit more this way. Kind of reverse it a little bit, because back here it's tilting, you know, this way, and then come over here, and now you can tilt it this way. And it kind of just, you know, gives you that reversal, okay? Because that's part of, you know, here we've got this line of action, which isn't very strong, but it's stated, it's good, it's right there. And then you come here, and you can push that even more. Sometimes you don't always need to reverse things, but if you can take it from soft to extreme, then you give yourself, it's really, when it comes to cartoon animation, it's all about the extremities of change, okay? And by the extremities of change, what I mean is, like, just the more extreme you can make these changes, the better it reads. And take this, okay, and take this, and we'll drop it down. Now, I haven't spent any time in your scene, I mean, other than just, you know, just right now. I don't, you know how the deal works. You know, you have to forgive the noise in the background. That's okay. I got to get doors in my office. Yeah, we just moved in, so get this to this. By really pushing that more, what we've done is we've taken and we really pushed this line of action. All right. We've also created a second one that crosses through, which is pretty nice. Okay. But by creating this very strong line of action here, compared to this one, this is also it's the same bend, but one is far more extreme than the other. So you've got a big enough change, and then you toss in, you know, the head is tilted this way, and then come over here, and the head is tilted this way. So you're changing things enough that it starts to have a little fun to it. Okay. So what I'll do is take all of these, come back here, keyframe that, and get rid of this extra one that I created because I didn't pay attention to where I was in time. Okay. Here what you can do is you can then, from this, you can kind of drag up out of it, which I think would be good to see. You know, I like that extreme, so it's coming up and then going down. So somewhere in here would be good to kind of see that kind of drag out. So let's go over here, and just to kind of let you know what I'm thinking, just key these. Alright, and take that down. I'm sorry. Make it more like that one, and then take that, and I'm just kind of trying to create a little bit of drag in them, okay? And by creating this drag, that to that to that. I'm not doing anything with the arms because I'm gonna just let you figure that out. But you could really do some things like break the rig, you know, just break that thing. And you can do the same thing with the top one. Let me take and move these where I can get a hold of them. There we go. There we go. And so what I'm trying to do here is just kind of create this drag, you know, this idea that he's dragging his way up there. Okay, so it's just it was just the breakdown you needed. And even here, I would say that these hips could come down. Well, not that hip, but that one, so that he swoops under. Okay. And kind of back like that. See? And that just gives it a little, you know, gives it a little something to work with. Now, this move right here is good, but you're going to try and pull away from this point, okay? And it's this idea, if you want to drag away from that, you have to kind of mark where he's coming from. So you mark here, and here. That's, you know, for his head anyways. That's the boundary of where he's working from. So anything that you do motion-wise should work inside. If you're going this direction, I mean, if you're going to go this direction on the screen, then everything needs to stay this side of this line and this side of this line. Okay, the reason why is if you don't, things will pop. And what we have here is here the head is breaking outside that line. So that's going to create a pop. Now you can say, well, I'm trying to create an arc, and it's good you're trying to create an arc, but I think it's better if the arc just pulls away. So if you've got this line over here, well, let me go ahead and turn this off so we can see it. If you've got this line here and this line here, and you are right about here, and you want to arc them, well, maybe right about there. You want to arc away. You know, you could arc out and down, but that's going to somehow feel poppy. Don't ask me why, it just does. So if instead you arced this way, all right? Well, everything was, let me go ahead and erase all that because I didn't do that very well. Here to here, and the head is there, okay? Nice round circle. You want to arc away. If you arc out this way, what's going to happen is the head will kind of pop out here, and it will violate that boundary, and it's going to flicker. Okay. What you want to do is you just want to smear away from it. All right. So right here, what we have is he's kind of popping outside that line. So what I would do is, you know, using a little tool like this, I would just kind of mark a line like that, knowing that he's going to pull that way. And if he was going this direction, I would move this line on this side. Okay, I would put it on this side over here if he's going to go screen left. But since he's going screen right, I'm going to mark the left boundary and the top boundary. If he was going screen right and up, I'd mark the bottom boundary and the right boundary, just to give me a place to know where I'm pulling away from. Because smearing is like, you know, a smear frame is like pulling tape off of a piece of wood. You know, the tape isn't going to go through the wood. It's going to peel away from it. So this whole idea is he's peeling away from this position. Okay, and so then he gets here. Okay, there's a couple of ways you can handle this. You can do this, which is simple, but you lose that line. So I think what's actually more interesting is if you keep that line that line of action like this. Alright, and then take this hand, you know, do whatever we're doing with the hand here. Yeah, the same thing with the hand. You would do this for the head and for the hand and everything else as well. Now this one swooping out doesn't bother me that much, but this right here, pulling down, I want the head to pull away from that spot. You can use this. Well, that's really goofy. We have a second head control in here. You can never really know sometimes with these rigs. Let's see. No, he's fine. Where's our head squishy? Is there our head squishy? Alright, let's see what happens here. There we go. So what we're doing is we're pulling away from this point. And we're keeping this curve on the head. It's going to swoop under this way. And what I would do is try and build that swoop right into his body frame. Okay? So, take that and get rid of it over here. So try and build that swoop right into his body, which means we're going to adjust some of this stuff right here. Alright? To try and, just build that with a sense of smoothness to it. So because the idea of changing shapes to lead where we're going, the shapes have to flow into one another. Alright, so you have to be careful about how, if you can, just push the rig as much as possible to get the shapes to do what you want them to do. Okay? And I would drag that foot right there. Maybe not. Never mind. I like what you did better. Okay? The one thing I'm thinking, though, is the feet are kind of I guess you would call it linear, or they're too much the same. I like the idea of keeping things asymmetrical. Okay. And so what we're doing here now is we've kind of created this pull away from here. We can do some things here as well. Oops. I want to get the head. Thank you. And we take that little head squishy thing. All right. Again, the idea here is creating something. Now I think between here and here, there to there, I think what I would do is I'd be tempted to put that foot to kind of go down so that you get the sense that it's landed, but that's very difficult to do. So we'll just leave that up where it was. Somewhere in here, right around this frame, you're gonna have to show that foot kind of landing first, just to kind of catch that weight. Okay, so instead of landing with 2 feet and coming up, have it land, foot, in that order. Foot, foot. Even if it's on frame and the next frame, you show that transition. It'll just help it. Okay. But you see how that pull away is a lot smoother than what you had built. It doesn't pop out. Okay, and the same thing with the hands. You can mark where the hands are in the same way. You can mark this hand right here, like this. Okay, and you can take the hand and pull it away. Okay, so the finger's right about there. And it's alright if, it's alright if you break out that plane. This probably isn't quite so important, this side right here. I wouldn't worry about that so much because you've got more freedom to work with. It's a smaller object, so the shape is smaller. It's not going to be quite as noticeable or poppy. Because if you have a large shape changing, and then a small shape changing as far as the arcs and things like that, our eyes are going to go to the big one first. So you can be a little looser with the smaller one. Okay, so the smaller ones here, we can be a little bit looser with. And so just as long as it's pulling away from that spot, and really the thing I like to do is aim the finger back where it came from. So it's marked, this finger's right there, and so then we go to this frame. It's like the finger's kind of IK'd right there, but that helps give it a sense of being, really, I guess the best way to describe it is it's pulling away from it. Okay, I'm gonna find his finger controls here. Is this his finger controls? Curl. Well, that's just that one. Good enough, I suppose. And this right here, where we're at, I like the shape changing of what you're trying to do. But I think you could actually even pull it down more. And just do something like this. I'm trying to get the elbow to lead it. Okay, so we'll get this arm coming a little bit forward. You can use the 3D space. See, it's way back here, so what I'll do is I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up here. Okay, by pulling it in front, we give ourselves a better opportunity to make an arc that works better for us. Okay, so we take this thing. All right, and now we can lead with the elbow instead of just having the hand follow. Okay, and we can drag this hand back. Okay, and it just gives it a little bit more pop. Because you're changing again. It's all about change here. So you're changing the angle of this hand from this to this. Okay, that's it's almost as big a change as you can get. Okay, and that gives you a great chance to do some overlap right there for something really snappy. Okay, and this hand down here, it kind of pops up and out. Like I said, it doesn't bother me too much, but I'd still rather see it, you know, not draw attention to itself quite so much. So something like that maybe. Just so it's not calling too much attention to itself. And then here you can kind of drag it back. Alright? And there it has to come down a little bit. Because what I'm trying to do, as you'll see here, you know, the finger's right about here. Alright? And then when it gets here, it's alright if it comes out a little bit, it's because it's a smaller thing, but notice I'm pulling away from that point now. It's all about trying to keep the things flowing so that the shapes flow. Okay? And overall, that transition that I built is going to, at that speed, it's going to be a lot smoother to watch. And if you pick out all this stuff here at this level, you don't end up making your life more difficult down the road. And it just gives everything a sense of cohesion and tightness to it. Because, you know, a lot of the reasons, you know, as CG artists, we come at this from an angle that doesn't really understand where the hand-drawn animation concept, you know, where some of the things that come from it really originate from. For instance, you know, for us in CG, you know, we have our stick figure character, you know, and there's our, you know, stick figure character. And then we want a new pose, we just go to a new frame, we don't see that drawing anymore, and we just move it. Okay? The thing is, with hand-drawn animation, they do see that, and they see things with you know, with the previous drawing before it. So that's one example of how you do things in a static way. But what happens when you're doing smears? Okay, you got this, and you want to get over here to this. Well, in CG, you know, we'll you know, if we're really paying attention, we'll get something, you know, along the lines to get an arc. We'll get, you know, get a nice arc of motion like this. But we don't see that drawing when we make this drawing. But when when we make that pose, okay? Unless we got like some ghosting tool, which Maya doesn't really have a very good ghosting tool. But what they have for hand-drawn is they keep this drawing right here, and they just draw right from it. And what they're doing is they've got that thing to work from, and then down here they got this one to work from. And so now they got themselves some shapes to work with. So we take this one out of the way and take these things out of the way, just for giggles. Now we've got something that's got some real shape to it. Okay, so this would be drawing 1, and this would be drawing 2, and this would be drawing 3. All right, to get into that pose and to come from that one. But as a kind of off the screen here a little bit for you, but as a hand-drawn animator, I have these drawings in the sheets of paper. So everything I do is coming from that. In CG, we kind of don't have that. We kind of force our way along. So what I've been doing is I've been pretty much behaving as if I had this, and then when I do this, I'm trying to do that drawing on top of thing. See? And then when I go here, I'm trying to kind of continue that. Alright, and then we get here, and it's up here. So one thing you're going to have to look at is how you get from here to here. So this drawing is, you know, right here, frame 85. You're going to have to spend a lot of time building that out, because you can't just let the computer do that. You're going to have to build 85. Okay, there's no way around it. So take this, I go 84 key. Let's go ahead and make these tangents linear and go to 85. You're going to have to do something with 85 here to make that shape work, because at 86 the head shape is like this. Okay, but he's coming down through here. If you could, what would be awesome, and you might be able to do it, is if you can take this shape right here and flatten it. Okay, so if we got rid of this shape here and instead did something like this, well, that's hard to see, so let's move that out of the way. get a color that will show up. Well, I guess white's not too shabby. If we can do something that shows this turn right here, so that then you can do something like this to kind of make that shape flow into it. Well, the character is deformable, so there's some things you can do. But if you can just, don't be afraid to take that rig and really break that thing, and just, have the thing flow. Okay, and then you go to 85. 86 is like that, so 85, you're going to have to take the time to build this stuff. Oops. And take this and set it back to 0, and take this and set it back to 0 and 0, just to kind of get everything back to where it was. Take this guy. Oops. There we go, at 85. Oh gosh, I did something goofy. I hit 0 on something else along the way, didn't I? Doody 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 doody. Wow. Oh, I know what I did wrong. Sorry, I had this little, the channel box open and it threw everything off. There we go. 84, 85. So take this, take that, and set it to 0, like I was going to do. It's one of the problems drawing on the screen. Whenever you change what's underneath the screen, you make your life a little bit more difficult. Okay, and then okay, and then take this, and look at that, you can almost make that shape. Okay, so if we delete all these and turn all this off, see that? And that's just with the head. And that's what we got to do. Cartoon animation is all about shapes in motion. It's not about a head moving through space. It's about the shape that represents a head moving through space. And you do what you need to do to get that head to work. Okay? And if you're going to get here and hit this as an extreme on 86, which is a really great idea, then go ahead and use it as an extreme and hit it, just give it a lot, go ahead and give it a pop right there. I don't know if I'd pull the neck out quite as far as I did, but you kind of get the idea, right? Now here, this hand in here, I would keep that more in a silhouette. Well, it's got some really funky stuff with the curves kind of flipping all over the place. So I'll just go ahead and put that in step so we don't have to worry about it. Instead of being here where the silhouette's closed off and it's kind of hard to read. I mean, even if I turn off all of these things, it's like, well, that's hard to read. But if I come out here, it reads, and that flow line is better. Okay. When it's in like this, it's just kind of too tight. So get it out here. Don't be afraid to have it be really big looking and have the hands really different. And then here again, as he comes in, he hits that, and then he comes up there. This is something that you're going to want to define, that whole move, that whole sweep up there. I like this up here, and I like the jump. The one thing about this, though, is it does feel like you've got one too many ideas in here. And I like all the ideas, but one of them has to go. Because here he says this double, but here's homicide. Let's see if I can turn on the sound here and kind of work my way through it. No doctor. I have to change and find your sound on my computer. Alright, documents, APT4, Nanda, week 1, no doctor wave. Okay. So here he's this little, you're hitting double and homicide. Okay, and that's like I said, I like all the ideas. I like this idea. I like this idea. The problem is you can't use both of them because it's too much. Okay, so he either goes from this to this to this, or he goes from this, from this to this and holds it and comes over here to this. Okay, I'll do that again. He either comes from here and goes to here, you know, for double homicide, and then jumps, or he starts here and he goes he starts here and he goes here and he stays there for both words, double homicide, and then he jumps over here. But you know what you're trying to do is go from here to double to homicide to jump, and it's just, you're hitting every word and it's just too much. Okay, you need to give it some room to breathe. So I'll leave it up to you to pick which one you want, but you're gonna have to kill one of those poses. You know, you're gonna have to kill this one or this one. It's up to you. I'd personally like this one a lot because it's very expressive. And you know, the funny thing is, it will work with this whole thing here because that's the same arc. You know, I mean, we can do, you know, we got the head there, and we get, you know, get down here where the head's, you know, down here, and then we were hitting it right here, right? But if we go up here, look at that, it works. So all you have to do is just keep running through it. Instead of stopping here with a point, just go up. Okay, so it would be easier to just get rid of this whole point thing right here and just go from this up to this. All right, and be up there for both words, double homicide. Okay, then you can jump over into this thing. I think that's going to be better because there's just too much going on right now and it's hard to let it read. All right, a couple of more things here. This right here, the shape is just a square, okay, and it's compressed, but there's no sense of flow away from that position. Okay, you go from here, there's not really any flow from there. So again, we'll try and build some of that flow in, and it's good to have it compressed. But let's try and have it flow. And then here you can really push this overlap. See that? It just helps. It just helps overall keep the thing just feeling, you know, like it's smooth. Now, of course, I'm really messing with this pose. And you'll, like I said, I have no practice in this. I'm just doing this on the fly, and so we can do some things here. Okay, and get that head down a little bit more, get that up a little bit more. I mean, when it comes to cartoon stuff, again, it's all about shapes flowing, so don't worry about, gosh, could a body get in that position? Don't worry about it. You only have to worry about that when you get to actual poses that are held. Okay, this one, I think this could be a little bit stronger this way. All right, because he's pulling away from that position, I want to aim that back to where it was. Okay, and not only does that help connect where he jumped from, because he's, you know, the push-off point is right there. So by pointing back to it, we keep that connection. Again, it's that whole idea that I'm starting here and then I draw away from it for the next one. All right, instead of, you know, instead of drawing here and then drawing something over here where the sense of connection isn't there. We want things to feel like they came from where they just were. Okay, so here to here, it's pointing back to where it was, but the second benefit you get from that is your line of action's a lot cleaner. Okay, where it was before with the foot was kind of up. Foot was kind of up here and stuff, and there was no strong line of action. Okay, and this foot could drag down a little bit. Okay, and then that gives us some place to go with it up here. Okay, and then we can kind of bring it forward, and there we go, something like that. Alright, and again, this pose right here is fairly straight up and down. You know, his hips are right over both legs equal. So give this just a little bit more dynamic push. And E. Okay. So now what we're able to do, you see what I'm trying to do here, is take that line of action, really push it a little bit more. Because what you had was, you know, a stick, and straight with a head over here. And that just doesn't have the, you know, the stick being the legs. So by shifting the hips over, now what you have is your leg flows up here, this one flows back, but it just creates a base for support, but this line goes right through the head. Alright, your arms go in, and it just overall flows better. It's just a better drawing. Okay? From this to this. Same idea. I'm not really violating anything. I'm not changing your idea. I'm just making it stronger. And then also gives you room to come back to something. You know, from this to this, you're just kind of going down. Whereas if you come out here and come back, you know, you give yourself just a little bit more to work with. See, you're going down, but you're also compressing in. You know, you're coming back this way and this way, but you're also going this way. Whereas the other way you had it, you know, was just going down. You know, you're just kind of going from a taller version of square to a shorter version of square. All right, but here what we're doing is we're pulling it back in from the side. So there you go. Yeah, good stuff. I'm nitpicking it because there's a lot of really good stuff. I don't have to work on the big stuff, but it looks really good. I think the biggest big ticket item that you have to figure out is which one of those two poses you want to kill, either the double or the homicide. I personally vote for the pose that you currently use for homicide and just lose that whole point stop thing. You can use that whole thing as a transition, but I would lose that stopping thing. Or if you like the whole stop thing, then lose the hands up, you know, the whole homicide thing you do. It's just a little too chaotic with both of them in there. So I think if you stripped it out, you'll find that it flows a lot smoother. Okay, so there you go. For next week, just keep going. You all right?
Well, there. I hope that was helpful to you. I hope it was a different look at things. I know it's not your typical video. A lot of times you'll see me talking or you'll see me doing, you know, little things here and there. And this APT stuff is a lot of times just a mixture of it all. You know, you got the little webcam and everything. It was really, really fun to do. I really enjoy the APT. I'll be doing a few more sessions in the future, so I don't know, this isn't an ad or anything like that, but, you know, if you guys are interested, then at least you know what it looks like. But yeah, it was really fun to do, and I hope you guys pulled something out of it. And we'll get into our body mechanics stuff down the road again, but I just thought it was really neat to be able to share this one with you. And I hope you liked it. I hope you learned a lot from it. Hope it was entertaining and enjoyable. And that's it, man. That's it. So until the next time, you guys be good, be safe, keep animating, and God bless.